my name is Nene and welcome to the A Space. Since it is the end of Autism Acceptance Month, I wanted to shout out some autistic authors who have ACE rep in their books. I am starting off with Talia Hibbert. Talia Hibbert is a romance author. You might know her from the Brown Sisters. The first book in the series is called Get a Life, Chloe Brown, and the last book in her series has two autistic characters. The love interest is autistic and then the main character is Word of God autistic. So Word of God means that it isn't canon in the book, but the author did intend for it to be that way, or the author later realized that it was that way. So she has a book called That Kind of Guy. It is from the Ravenswood series, and the love interest is demisexual. It is about, I think it's fake dating. I actually read this for the ACE Race, which is a readathon I host, where we read books with asexual main characters. So this is the love interest, but he also is a protagonist. So it's about Ray, and she's attending an award ceremony where her ex will be, and so she has this best friend who she asks if he wants to go with her and pretend to be her boyfriend. And the love interest is called Zach, and he is kind of notorious for casual hookups. And when the main character kind of gets rejected by him, she feels insecure, but later finds out that he's demi, and so I think the guy only recently realized that he's demisexual, so he doesn't do the casual hookups anymore. But then when he's becomes Ray's boyfriend, or fake boyfriend, he becomes attracted to her and stuff, and so it's a romance book. So I am personally, I don't like reading about sex. I normally skip the scenes. I also skip the scenes in this one, and I read Get a Life, Chloe Brown. There's a lot of sex in it, and there's a lot of talk about genitals and being turned on, which made me super uncomfortable. So I was kind of scared to read this one, but my friend Paula told me that she really liked it and that it wasn't that sexual, which, because it does have a demisexual main character, there's not a lot of sex, and it only happened about like 2/3 of the way. Easily skippable. And I really like that the main character, she's attracted to him in the first part of the book, but then when she finds out he's demisexual, she respects that, and there's not a lot of talk about sexual attraction, which I really appreciated because I don't like to read about it. So I do think that it's skippable for sex repulsed people, although I'm not 100% sure. If you really want to avoid sex in books, avoid this one. But if not, I recommend it. It's super short and it's super cute. So then there's a Dutch author, actually, Corinne Duyvis. She had a book out last year which is called The Art of Saving the World, and I think that the main character is asexual, but I'm not 100% sure because I haven't read the book myself yet. So in the story there's a rift that threatens to swallow up the town, and there are these, I think the main character has doppelgangers. Doppelgangers? How do you pronounce that word? So I'm thinking the rift is causing for these other dimensions to open up. But again, I haven't read the book, so I'm not sure. It is a YA science fiction, and I think that it's like a contemporary science fiction where it's set in our world and then has some sci-fi elements, obviously, because of the dimensions. And then I wanted to shout out an author called Francesca Zappia, and she wrote Eliza and Her Monsters, which you might know of. When the book was released, I think a couple of years later, the author realized that she was on the ACE spectrum, as well as realized that she was autistic. And she looked back on this book and thought, hey, these characters, at least the main character, is on the ACE spectrum as well. And the love interest, I think as well as the main character, is autistic. So it is Word of God, which I explained at the beginning. It isn't in the book itself, but the author said it was. So Eliza is the author of the super popular webcomic, and there's this new guy at school, and he thinks that she makes fan art for the webcomic, and they kind of bond over being fans for the webcomic. He writes fan fiction. He's, I think, one of the most popular fanfic writers. And then she's the real author, but she doesn't tell him. And it's kind of like a romance YA. I really liked it. There are trigger warnings for suicide and car accident and PTSD. I think PTSD, or at least some kind of trauma. I really like the book. It's a 5 out of 5 stars for me. And so Zappia also has a book called Now Entering Adamsville, which I haven't read yet. I don't know if the main character is asexual or there's a side character, because I haven't read the book yet. I don't know if it's Word of God or if it's canon. But I will tell you what it is about. It is about somebody who has been framed for setting fire at her school, which a janitor was killed with. And she has to team up to kind of clear her name with one of her cousins. And there is this camera crew filming for a ghost hunting TV show, which kind of only makes it worse. The description ends with, Zora will have to read between the lines of Adamsville's ghost stories before she becomes one herself. Then I have another Dutch author called Marieke Nijkamp. They wrote the book Before I Let Go. It is a kind of paranormal mystery YA about a girl who leaves her small town behind, and then things are starting to act really weird, and her friend dies, and she goes back, and people are acting really weird because this friend wasn't really loved by everybody because she was kind of deemed as strange. Everybody's saying she's in a better place now, this is what she would have wanted, we always loved her and stuff. And the main character tries to figure out what is going on, and it's kind of spooky at some times. I really liked it, and I think that the main character is asexual. The author Rivers Solomon wrote the book An Unkindness of Ghosts, which is a YA science fiction about a non-binary. The main character is non-binary, and they are autistic and asexual. So this is a space science fiction, and it is about Aster, who is deemed as a monster and an ogre, and there's a lot of colorism and racism, I think, on this ship, and they are on the verge to have a civil war, and she tries to find out what caused her mother's suicide. So obviously, trigger warnings for suicide, racism. I cannot find the trigger warnings right now on Goodreads, but I do know that there's some because I can't read it myself. So I hope that I'll remember to put a link to the trigger warnings down in the description. And then the last one is Jolley. He is an autistic writer. I think his debut book has an asexual side character. It is called the Sacrosanct Records. It's a series, and the first book in the series is called The Stone Warrior. It is a fantasy about a girl whose parents are taken by town raiders, and she hires a bounty hunter, and she goes with the bounty hunter to find her mother and father. The main character is 15 and she has magical powers, but because she's so young, she doesn't really have control over her magical powers, I think. I haven't read it yet, so I'm not sure. I don't think that this book has autistic representation, but I know Jolley's second book does have autistic representation. Wait, he has more books, but anyways, the Casey Warlock Weekly series does have autistic main character, which I'm very interested in. The author has a Discord server that I will link below, or that you can join if you're interested in chatting with the author or other fans of his. Hi, editing Nene here. I have no idea what happened to my last clip. I cannot find it anywhere, so I am giving you the outro right now. First of all, I'm sorry for the weird cutoff, and I forgot to add my microphone, so this is a mess of a video anyways. But thank you so much for watching. If you want to follow the A Space, we have a Twitter account and a Discord server. I also have a Google Doc right now. It's not updated. It's still the one for the Ace race, but in the Google Doc are lots of books with asexual main characters, and I am updating it to also have a list with asexual side characters. But yeah, the updating is in the works. It's taking a while, but hopefully I'll get that to you soon. If you want to follow me personally, I will also leave my links below. Don't forget the live show for the book club's discussion will be May 2nd. The book we will be discussing is Summer Road Blue by Akemi Dawn Bowman, and I will be joined by Elise from The Petite Punk and Casey from Casey Can Read. Yes, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.